allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I will ask the secretary to please note the roll, and I will take a motion to excuse Commissioner Walters, please.
I move that we excuse Commissioner Walters from tonight's meeting.
I second.
Motion by Commissioner Kish, seconded by Commissioner Maloney. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. She is excused. Minutes, approval of the December 14th, 2016 minutes, and I think they are right behind the agenda. I'll take a motion on those.
I will move that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I second that.
It has been moved by Commissioner Barnes, seconded by Commissioner Milton. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. At this time, any citizen comments? Are there any? I'm guessing no. Disclosure of ex parte communications. Is there any from any of the commissioners? Thank you. Item number 7, there is no old business, which will take us to new business. And Alex will be presenting on the Estrella Mountain Ranch Phase 3 PAD amendment. And with that, I will open the hearing.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the Commission. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, there's 2 items being requested or proposed tonight. The first one is a creation of a new zoning district within the Montecito Phase 3 PAD. So we'll start with that one. The PAD amendment there's currently 3 creative lot types within the Montecito PAD when it was implemented. There's the single-family detached creative lot, the single-family attached creative lot, and then a multifamily. The district being proposed tonight is called Single Family Detached Creative Lot A, SFDCLA, if I refer to it that way in the future. So if we look comparatively to the CLA and the CL zoning district, there's not much difference in terms of front yard or setbacks, building heights, etc. The big difference here is the density, and there's an additional footnote added to the top. I did pull out the zoning ordinance, R17 and R16 zoning districts, so you can see they're pretty similar to those as well. The additional design guidelines, that footnote number 10 says section 4.1.2 residential design standards do not apply to the zoning district, but are subject to the city's design guidelines. So those additional design guidelines are located here. There's a few in here that are actually regulatory, like provide covered front porches. Most of these that are in here have been added to the the city's design guidelines since they were adopted in 2014. This PAD is from 2008 originally, so we have incorporated these design concepts historically speaking. So if we remove these from there, our city's design guidelines will still apply to this new district. So with that first recommendation, staff does recommend adding the new district to the Montecito PAD. The second recommendation is to rezone parcel 7.5 to the new SFDCLA zoning district. If you'll remember, we did preliminarily plat this parcel at December's meeting. It is 17.93 acres at the corner of Calistoga and Estrella, which is 65 single-family lots, 28.6% open space, The zoning designation was the CL criteria, and the density that was proposed on the preliminary plat was 3.63. So that did differ from what was in the PAD previously. However, prior to that preliminary plat, there was an approved preliminary plat that was approved with that same density. So either way, the density would have stayed the same had we not adopted the last preliminary plat that you did in December. Hopefully that made sense. The request is actually rooted in the fact that Beazer has expressed interest in developing on this parcel. The creative product that they're proposing is something that you might see in the overlook at Estrella, which is on the east side of Estrella Parkway in the Estrella community. We held a citizen review meeting on December 8th. Approximately 20 citizens showed up, and their main concern was that this was a rezone to the storage facility use. However, we did explain that it wasn't. When we told them that the density was changing and some of the design guidelines were the big changing factors, they were all satisfied and reacted quite positively and happy that the density was decreasing. The creative lot A is consistent with the general plan and all technical requirements. I did want to mention that the attachments show a few modified pages. However, in the second action item, stipulation 1 does require that the applicant update the entire PAD book to reflect the changes that are in the staff report, and that would be done prior to council approval with your recommendation. That concludes my presentation, and Pete Tyke is available for questions, and I can answer any if you have.
Any questions for staff?
Just a summary, because there's a lot going on there. The density is going down, and they want to be able to change the stipulations, that list of items that was under they wanted to remove those to open up. So section 4-1-2, they wanted to, are they removing these creative lot additional design guidelines, or are they keeping to those?
So that's a great question, thank you. The SFD CL still applies to all of the parcels that were already zoned that when the PAD was implemented. Those will still abide by these design guidelines. The new SFD CLA these will not apply to those districts, and so far the only one that will be zoned that would be 7.5.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? The applicant's here. Pete, would you like to speak? Any questions for Mr. Tyke? No? Thank you, Alex. We appreciate it. With that, then, I will take a motion in a second, please.
I will move to approve item 16-210-00006.
A second.
Motion by Commissioner Barnes, seconded by Commissioner Kish. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. And I will close the public hearing. We will now move on to item number 9, staff communication.
Thank you, Chairman. I have one communication item, and that's just a follow-up from an email that was sent to the Commission, I think last week. We're looking to move the February meeting. It would regularly be scheduled on, sorry, I'm looking it up. February 15th, and we're asking to move that to February 22nd. And the reasoning is that we have a city council work session planned this coming Monday to discuss some design guideline issues with the city council regarding industrial buildings and dock doors. And we have an applicant who has submitted a PED amendment, but we need that direction from city council before we can process it. And because of noticing timeframes, we're not going to hit the noticing for the February meeting. So the only other items we have for the February meeting are city staff initiated items at this time. So it's not a problem for any of our other cases to move that meeting. I sent out a notice. We do have a quorum at this time for that February meeting. So hearing any objections from the commission at this time, we plan on moving the meeting to the February 22nd date. I'm sorry.
22nd at 6 p.m.
Yes, same time, same place,
Same
just
channel.
1 week later.
Perfect.
Can we just make sure that maybe we notify a couple of times since it's that different Wednesdays so that
Absolutely.
that would just be helpful. Secondly, I hope I don't mess with the quorum, but I will not be able to be there on the 22nd.
We did have a quorum otherwise.
Okay, perfect. Anything else for staff communications?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Commission, just to bring you up to speed on a couple activities that we have worked together as a team on over the course of the last month. If you remember, and Alex referred to it, the preliminary plat, parcel 7.5, the same parcel that you considered the zoning on tonight, that subdivision plat went to council and was approved, so that moved through. And then also the use permit for the Centera Pad 3, which is on the southeast corner of, if you will, of Van Buren and Australia Parkway, was approved recently by the council as well. So we're happy to have both of those move through the process. And also, just as some information for you, we closed out sort of calendar year 2016, roughly about 3.5% or 4% down on single family permits. So we were roughly about 1,050 in 2015, calendar year 2016. We're about 950, 960, 970, somewhere in that range. I apologize, I didn't have the exact count, but down just a little bit. But if you look at our trends since 2010, 2011, we're significantly more active in new residential rooftops than we were over the course of time. In fact, it's still I guess it would be the second highest number of permits we've issued since the Great Recession. So although it's down a little bit, it's still good news, and it seems like that volume, that trend line has stabilized instead of rocketing, going to 2,000 or what have you, or 1,500. We're very pleased to have a trend line that's just moving around just a little bit. We've been involved in a couple of discussions on where the market's moving in the Phoenix Valley for next year, meaning this year, calendar year 2017. And the outlook is about the same or slightly more advanced. So we're expecting probably in the 1,000 to maybe 1,300 or so new single-family permits for this calendar year, and we're excited to work with our partners in that regard. So all those are good news. It seems like the market is very stable at the current time. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Anything new about new stores or what's happening with the mall?
The city has a development agreement with Macerich, who's the developer on the mall site, and is broken up into different phases. Phase 1 was acknowledged by the city in, I believe, December to be completed. Phase 1 being the Harkins movie theater and also some out parcels. They're all infrastructure ready for development, and Macerich is continuing conversations with some users on those sites as well. In terms of the retail aspect of the mall, the development agreement, I believe, goes through 2021, I think it is. So in the city's in continuing conversations with Macerich Economic Development is. I don't have a status for you on any particular stores or anything that are imminent or going to announce at the particular time, retail-wise, for the mall.
Does Macerich negotiate or bring companies or stores or restaurants to the area? I mean, is that their job or is it our economic development?
We really partner with Macerich in terms of, I'm going to use the word selling the community. Macerich owns the dirt, so obviously what the sales transaction is, they kind of drive the bus, if you will, on that aspect. but we often partner in getting the word out about what's going on in Goodyear, our demographics, our discretionary income, how other restaurants, retail stores, and entertainment uses are doing in Goodyear, because that is an indicator that new uses look toward to see how successful they can be as well. So it all works hand in glove. The Economic Development Department is very much engaged with Macerich on an ongoing basis in order to help attract the users that the city would like to see and Macerich would like to see.
I heard a rumor that a cheesecake factory was coming.
Yeah, and I haven't heard that rumor, so
Exactly what
it
that
would be
is.
it would be great.
A rumor.
Yeah.
We've confirmed it's a rumor.
So Kathleen Maloney is building a cheesecake factory.
A lot of that
Somebody
lately.
said to me, gee, I heard that there's a cheesecake factory coming. I'm like, nobody told me.
No, there's I do know that there's been significant interest in the pad sites around the Harkins movie theater. I don't know who the users are, frankly, but there's been a lot of interest in those pad sites, which is
There
good.
was
Which is good.
a really positive article this week in AZ Central about the city and
Mhm.
our economic development and growth and
Right.
and all that. And that kudos to all the staff on that. I mean, you guys work hard to make that happen.
We're experiencing there's a lot of interest in Goodyear in the Southwest Valley in terms of industrial manufacturing currently, which is job growth, which is a good thing. So that's one of the things the economic development frequently hears from potential retail users and restaurants and so forth is, well, how many rooftops do you have? What are their demographics? What's your daytime population? And so the more people that we have in this city on a 24-hour basis, if you will, the greater appeal that we have to offer to these users that we all would like to see. So jobs is a great thing, and economic development is very aggressive in going after and helping to position the city and property owners to be successful in landing new job growth. As a matter of fact, as an example of that, and I know I'm long-winded, so I'm sorry, but the former Rubbermaid building, I don't know if any of you were aware of this or not, was announced, I guess, before Christmas, that Hutamaki, which is a food service, so like cups and napkins and things of that nature, they bought the building. Most of it, not all of it, but most of it was vacant. And so they're currently undergoing a tenant improvement on that building and will occupy pretty much all of it for the most part. Except there's a little bit of a out front portion. It looks like an office. That's another tenant. But nevertheless, it's about 500,000 square feet that will be that's vacant right now that will be turned into manufacturing, some office, and some distribution as well. So that's a great investment. I'm not going to say hundreds of millions of dollars, but lots and lots of money. Additionally, right across the street in the former Suntech building, that entire building is undergoing a tenant improvement currently as well. So that'll be a great asset to the city as well. So there's a lot of interest, and of course the PV 303 area continues to see a significant interest as well. So there's a lot of activity going on up there. If you drive up PV 303, the building that you see going up on the right is a spec building. It's about 600,000 square feet, if I remember correctly. Doesn't have a user yet, but frequently on these economic development projects, the timeline is so short that the only way to really meet the customer's demand is to have a finished building that they can go inside of and just do a tenant improvement. So they're positioning themselves to capture the next market. So that's an exciting employment opportunity as well. Last thing I'll mention is, and you all may have heard in our staff reports as well, you'll see we talk about fire service somewhat in a more detailed way than we have in the past. And that was as a result of some council direction, which we're obviously happy to provide. And you'll also may have heard or had some interest in fire protection in Australia, what's going on with that. I can tell you that the city's in the final steps of the negotiation process with enhancing fire service down in Australia, and there's going to be an agreement that's going to council on Monday night, as a matter of fact, the 23rd, to approve a new agreement with both Cantamia, the developer of Cantamia, which is AV Homes, and Newland, the developer of Australia, to provide additional fire service down there as well. So it's an important aspect of what the city does in providing public safety, and we're happy to partner with both the developers, Cantamia and Australia, for a solution. So we're looking forward to that. I think I was long enough tonight.
Yeah.
It was a short meeting.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Yes.
New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, meeting is adjourned.